kind of punch his shoulder. Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to our first June meeting for the Lee County Board of Commissioners. I'd like to welcome everybody here tonight, good group. And hard to believe we're in June, but here we are. And lots to do tonight. So at this time, I'd like to call on Commissioner Del Palazzo for prayer and to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this great nation we live in and for those that have and are willing to put their lives on the line to protect our freedoms. We pray for their safety at home and abroad. We also pray for the guidance of our nation's leadership from the highest to lowest levels of small communities. We ask you today for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of our community. Fill us with your grace as we make decisions that will affect the citizens of Lee County, and continue to remind us all that what we do here today, all that we accomplish, is for the pursuit of the truth, for the greater glory of you, and for the service of humanity. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay, are there any additional agenda items?
Yes, Madam Chair, if we can add to new business, you have at your seats, it's a point-to-point information technology wireless network bridge, I think is how we worded it, to the agenda, and if we can replace it actually with the Airmark Food Service, if we can remove that one to the next meeting.
Okay.
And then just also, so the commissioners are aware, there are amended minutes from May 20th at your seats. The agenda packages that were posted online have the correct minutes, but the packages that went out to board members who received them in paper had needed to be updated.
Okay, so as far as the consent agenda, the minutes we'll be approving are the ones in front of you. And new business, we will replace the new business item with the point-to-point wireless and save the Airmark Food Service contract for next meeting. Anything else? Okay, all those in favor of the agenda as amended, say aye.
Say aye.
All those opposed? Okay, thank you. Consent agenda?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve tonight's consent agenda.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. Now we'll move into some of our main business of this evening, and that will be to conduct our public hearings. At this time, we'll do the public hearing for the budget, but I'll recognize Dr. Crumpton for preview.
All right. The manager's recommended budget was presented at the May 20th, 2019 meeting, and the budget totals $77,082,778. The budget has been online, and it's been in the clerk's office and at the library, so people can review it. So we need to hold the public hearing tonight to hear any comments on the budget.
Okay, thank you. All right, at this time, I'd like to open our public hearing for the proposed fiscal year 2019-2020 budget. At this time, if anybody would like to speak in favor of the proposed budget, welcome to come speak now. Anybody opposed? Okay, we'll close the public hearing on the budget. All right, and now the public hearing for the proposed fire district tax rates for the fiscal year 2019-2020. Dr. Crumpton.
Yes, ma'am. At the May 13th, 2019 budget work session, Mayor Donald Andrews, chairman of the Lee County Fire Advisory Board, presented the fire department budgets. They have also been available for public viewing at the library, at the clerk's office, and online. So we need to hold a public hearing on those proposed tax rates and budgets tonight.
Okay, I'll open the public hearing on the fire district tax rates. Anyone like to speak in favor of the proposed rates? Opposed to the proposed rates? Okay, we'll close that public hearing. Thank you very much. And the public hearing for appropriations for economic development services with the Sanford Area Growth Alliance. Dr. French.
And as a reminder, the legislature a few years ago passed a requirement that a separate public hearing needed to be held for any appropriation related to economic development. So since there's an appropriation of $322,875 to the Sanford Area Growth Alliance in the manager's proposed 2019-2020 budget, we're required to hold a public hearing on that expenditure, proposed expenditure.
Okay. All right, we'll open that public hearing. Anyone to speak in favor of the proposed appropriation to Saga? Opposed? Okay, close that public hearing as well. Thank you. Public comments? No public comments. Quiet crowd tonight. Okay, old business. The consideration from the planning board recommendation and vote on the 7 proposed amendments. Mr. Downey, welcome.
Good evening, Madam
evening.
Chair and members of the board. As Madam Chair indicated, this is a recommendation from your planning board. You may recall at your May 20th meeting, I gave a fairly brief but hopefully comprehensive enough overview of these 7 amendments that basically cover both oil and gas extraction as well as traditional mining and quarrying. The planning board took that item that night after you closed your public hearing, and they unanimously recommended that you consider adopting the 7 amendments as presented. And I will pause there if there's any additional questions that the board might have. But you do have basically all 7 amendments attached in your packet for consideration of adoption.
Any questions for Mr. Downey?
No, but I'd like to thank you for the map that GIS prepared.
Yes, sir.
It really makes it a lot simpler to take a look at and see where you can and cannot. So thank you for doing that.
Certainly. I would just add, obviously, whatever decision you all make, based on that, if you do decide to approve these, we would take these to Broadway and the city of Sanford as well for their consideration.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the recommended UDO text amendments signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you so much for all your hard work. I know that was a lot of heavy lifting on those. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, new business, and this is the point-to-point wireless network bridge, Mr. Edwards. And again, that's in front of you in the information provided by Ms. Parrish. Hey,
Good evening.
Good evening again.
Other members of the board. If you recall, back in March, I came to you with the hopes that we would be able to install a fiber optic line between this building and the sheriff's office. That was our intention, but as we dug into it more, we ran into some pretty significant cost and timing issues with the path that was chosen. Roughly 84 power poles between this building and that building, and just in the first 30-ish poles, we were looking at more than $20,000 in what's called make ready to the poles, which basically means those poles would have to be replaced or repaired significantly, and that money would be the county's responsibility. There were also some violations from other folks that were on those poles, and so the power company pretty much gives them a lot of time to take care of those. We can't even be approved to attach to the poles until those issues are taken care of. So we're looking at significant cost and timing issues to make that a reality, but instead of looking at that as a failure, saw an opportunity.
Okay.
And so we can still create that same connectivity, but through using wireless technology. Wireless technology we've actually been using since 2007 to connect the elections office. And we would save significant money, not have to worry about permits, the railroad, the power company, and all those poles that needed significant work. So we developed an RFP to do that, sent it out to 9 vendors, and as you can see in the bid summary, Open Broadband's response was the most affordable option, and it's the option that I would recommend to the board. The equipment that they've specified here is right in line with what I had expected, and they have significant experience in this arena, doing this thing, this exact thing and more. So I'd ask you tonight to approve that recommendation so that we can move forward with the contract and the project, and I'll answer any questions that you may have.
Is this the gentleman that you brought before us a few months ago?
Yes, sir.
I'm glad, and
It's really good.
I'll offer a motion to support and approve this request.
Yeah, quick question. Is this gonna go on with the other wireless broadband that they're trying to put around?
So this will be a separate project, but we are still working with
Same company, right?
Same company, yes. We've also released and received back the RFP for the downtown project, but we're working with Ms. Parrish on the contract and the details, and hope to be bringing that back to you very soon.
Okay. Any more questions for Mr. Edwards? All right, there's a motion on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. This is great.
Yeah,
And
we're
that's right.
excited.
It was a problem, but turned into opportunity.
That's right.
Yeah,
I like those.
fantastic. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
That's good wording.
Yep. Okay, so our next item is discussion of the fiscal year 2019-2020 budget. Dr. Crumpton?
Yes, ma'am. We've held our public hearing. We also held a budget workshop today. I placed this item on the agenda to give the board any additional opportunities they needed to discuss the budget. We plan on, after tonight, putting the budget ordinance together for approval at the 17th meeting. So any input or changes or just direction, whatever we'd like to do.
Okay. Any, just for the commissioners that weren't in the workshop, I mean, I'll just start the discussion. One of the things that I mentioned was, if you look in your budget workbook, the UDO that the city is doing, or excuse me, the consultant for the UDO that the city's doing, Dr. Crumpton had in our budget. And, we paid for the first study, and the city didn't put anything in. So my recommendation was to take that out and let the city pay for the second one. We talked about that.
We also added $85,000 for the
Yes.
Veterans Court, which which we'll use fund balance to pay for in an effort to continue the Veterans Court money that Harnett received. The grant runs out September 30th, and they made a proposal to us to keep the court running through the end of the next fiscal year and give them more time to secure federal and state grants to keep that going on a more long-term basis. So the board unanimously approved that, the members who were at the workshop, to continue that going forward.
And didn't we add a $3,500?
Well, we hadn't voted on that yet. We're still discussing, but there was, again, the only change I would do with the nonprofits was to fund the $3,500 request from the Railroad House Association. You know, they came before us and needed the money to repaint the Railroad House. And I just look at that as like a one-time expense for a historical site.
Well, if your motion will include that part of the statement, I'm good.
Okay.
Okay.
Just ensure that we won't be paying more later
I
down
don't
the
want to
road.
buy the railroad house.
Right, yeah, yes. Commissioner Reeves' concern was that, you know, sometimes old buildings become money pits, and he didn't want us to get on the hook for $3,500 and
Go ahead
then,
and put it on the budget.
to include that, because it, you know, it was presented as a one-time expense. It is downtown, it's right outside right beside the buggy factory. You know, we don't want that to get into disrepair.
Or
Okay.
drunks driving into it.
Yes, exactly, yeah. So, yes, motion for that.
Is that on the Federal Registry of Historic Buildings? Okay.
Yes, sir. There is a plaque for that on the building.
Okay, so all in favor of the $3,500 for the Railroad House?
Going into the budget.
Mm-hmm.
It's a one-time deal.
One-time deal. Yes. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Did you make that motion?
Yes.
Okay, I just, for the information.
It's rare. Okay, let's see. Other discussion? Mhm. Mhm. It's okay, you're doing
Thank you.
great things.
She is.
And we only had that, have we finished this?
Yes.
I thought so. Okay, well, we only had that one other issue about the position.
Yes. The IT position.
Yeah.
I'm
I like the.
waiting for discussion.
Yeah, I'd like to give it some additional thought, and perhaps during that period of time that maybe the manager and the IT director can get a little closer together on the timing. I feel like at this point, it's not one of his recommendations, and I like to support that at this point.
Any other discussion on that? Or anything else on the budget?
I think the issue is important, the IT needs, and I'm particularly concerned about the 2020 upcoming elections as it relates to technology. So I think we'll have our hands full just watching some of the activities that might occur and changes that might occur. And in the meanwhile, the two of you can get together and see if you can reconsider the timing of the position. That's my position on it.
I'll be happy to negotiate with Mr. Edwards.
Okay. Round two.
That's the best you're gonna get today, I guess. That's the best you're gonna get.
Okay. Well, this is it.
Other than that, I'd offer a motion that we instruct staff to move forward with the budget ordinance with any amendments or changes made this afternoon. and be prepared to vote on it. Hopefully June 17th meeting.
Speak now. Commissioner Smith, do you have anything?
No.
Dr. Mack? Okay. All right, so there's a motion to instruct the manager to issue or create the budget ordinance for a vote next meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Manager's comments? Ms. Smith?
Ms. Minter is going to do the financial report.
Good evening.
Good evening. You have before you, starting on page 122, the actual report starts on page 117. I'm sorry, I read the wrong number. The financial report for the month of April 2019. As you will see, we're still running ahead on our tax collections compared to last year, which is a good thing. And then in reviewing expenditures, our target's 83.33%. And as I kept promising you, we would balance out with encumbrances included and stuff. So we only have a few departments now that are running over. If you look at with encumbrances, if you take the encumbrances out, we only have one department that's exceeding the target at this time, and that's juvenile detention. And we'll be bringing the budget amendment forward at the next meeting if we decide we need to do so. I do know one of the juveniles that was in detention has been moved because he reached the age of 18. So hopefully our bills will come down now. So if you look on page 120, you will see the sales tax report through the month of February. We are still on target with our budget, and I just received the March numbers today, and I'll have that report for you at the next meeting. But I will tell you that the number was even up. It will be our second highest month of the year, and puts us roughly in the 74 to 75% of our budget collections. So we're still doing well on sales tax. As through this month, we were roughly around 5% growth for the year. If you look at the March numbers, we're going to be around 6% again. Okay. Okay. I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Great news. Okay. Do you have
Nothing further.
anything else?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Commissioner comments. Commissioner Smith?
Madam Chair, unfortunately, we had another tragic event where a armed citizen walks into a government facility with no firearm signs, no doubt, and went on a mass rampage. It's just one of those things that we can build walls and we can put up all the metal detectors in the world and put an armed guard at each entrance. It's still a threat. It's a shame.
Just keep the people in your prayers. Thank you.
Just like to thank all the staff for the hard work so far on the budget, and we look forward to passing it in a couple of weeks, and fellow colleagues as well.
The same thing, just like us, keep the victims of the shooting at Virginia Beach in our prayers, and also even not the shooter, but the shooter's family and extended family. I noticed had some signs up in that area posted where they, offer their condolences as well to the victims.
Absolutely. And just reiterate all of that. Thank you for being here today. And
Commissioner Reeves?
I'm sorry. Yeah. Thank you all for department heads for all your hard work. It's not over yet. Still got another meeting. Go up again and support us. But some days I actually sit and wonder, where have all the good people gone? The world used to be a much better place. Something is going on that's real bad. And good people need to start showing up more. Start helping out more. You can't predict who's going to lose it on any given day. You just have to be the best person you can be all day, every day. And maybe things will improve. Thank you.
Commissioner Reeves started the sermon, I'll finish it. We have good friends that live in Virginia Beach, and you know, it's, as he said, you never know what's going on in someone's life. So, you know, we're so tied to social media now, and sometimes we tend to live in our own bubbles. But I think at some point we all need to reach the conclusion that we need to love instead of hate, and be kind instead of mean and undermining. And if we love each other and are kind to each other, I think it goes a long way. And with each day that goes by, as Commissioner Reeves says, it just seems like things get darker. And I don't know what it's going to take for us to realize that we need to reach out to each other and be nice to each other and be kind to each other. Because a lot of these things that are happening is because that didn't happen in somebody's life. And you never know what a difference you can make to somebody. It can be something so small and a kindness so simple, but it can make all the difference in the world to somebody when they're just right there on the brink. So just bear that in mind as we go forward. Because I think we're going to continue to see things like that until we realize that that lesson needs to be learned and we need to act on it. On a good note, congratulations to all our graduates this week. I've got one, I'm proud to say. Yay, it's our last one graduating from high school. We've got some school board members here in the audience. Thank you very much for the quality education that all 4 of my children have received from Lee County Schools. They've done very well, and it's because of the teachers and the staff and the administration that has seen them through all their years of education. And we are very blessed to have the school system that we have in this county, and I personally appreciate that. But congratulations to all the graduates. Be safe, and all of us as grown-ups look out for our graduates and wish them well and lift them up and support them as they start their new futures, wherever that may be, after they walk the stages in the next few days. So on that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Oh, whoops, I'm so sorry.
Just want to
Oh.
let commissioners know, remind them that they have
Oh,
a sample
yes.
ballot for 2 weeks for board appointments. Take this home and study it, and be ready to vote on the 17th for the board appointments. Sorry, I forgot
No,
to mention that.
that's
in my
fine.
comments.
That was totally my mistake. Thank you for catching that. Okay, we've got a motion to adjourn. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Thank you, thank you.
Very good.
Everybody have a good week.
Missed that. Here at least 8 o'clock.